walking in, because I was a massive underdog from the start, because people messaging me saying, "Oh, your odds, you're 100 to 1 to win this," and it kind of drove me on. It drove me on. Progression was good. I felt like my game could get better, and then so that was the target. It's always been my target, was to get onto the TV. So yeah.
Hello there and welcome to Tungsten Talk here on the MODUS Super Series Darts channel on Pluto TV. And today we're going to be talking about somebody who's been very successful here of late, Derek Coulson. He's joining me and Scott Mitchell for a chat. Derek, welcome along here to the Super Series. About time we got to find out a bit more about you, because there's not much of a record of your darts career until recent years. How come you've not been playing for longer?
I guess it's not. It was really a transition. When I moved up to Shropshire, I started playing pool again. I used to play county pool for Surrey. Moved up to Shropshire, played a lot of pool, and then just some local lads said they wanted to start a darts team up, and I said, "Yeah, go on." I used to chuck some darts years ago. I'll give it a go again. I was nothing special, to be honest. And then Super League came up, and I thought, "Yeah, go for it." And then obviously progressed into county, and I loved it. Playing on the stage, it was a buzz and a half. I absolutely loved it. I took to the stage really well and enjoyed it. So I thought, why not give it a go? And I honestly didn't think it would go any further than that, just playing a bit of county and Super League with my mates. And obviously then seniors came around, which changed me again. And then this, I'll be honest, MODUS, I love the seniors, but MODUS it's a bug. Once you've been here, and there's probably a lot of people would say the same, once you've been here, you want to get back and you want to do it again. You want to get better every time. And that's just driven me on.
You're saying all the right things already, Derek. Scott, when did you first become aware of Derek Coulson?
Probably it was around the seniors time, and I was wandering in the room thinking, "Oh yeah, got a good go here. I'm going to have a good day today." And then I bumped into this man, and never seen him really before. Watched a few of your games, because that's what I do. I tend to have a wander around and have a look at the players that I haven't seen before. And I was the new guy, and the seniors had been going about a year before I'd lost my tour card and sort of come back to the tour of it. And saw this fella throwing. I was, who the hell is this fella?
You did beat me, mind.
Yeah, but I thought he throws with the wrong hand and everything. He's giving me a chance. And we became friends pretty quickly. And I think like-minded people seem to find each other in darts and see the game in a very similar way. And I love the way that Derek plays it, and I love the way he does it. It's a breath of fresh air, and you can tell that he's played other sports because of his attitude. After a game, there's no malice. You're just doing, the guy's done to you what you're trying to do to him, and kind of you only understand that if you've played other sport generally.
Yeah.
What's it like for you established players, for people like Derek, who have kind of seemingly come from nowhere to produce that kind of level? Because Mervyn King actually admitted before the seniors he didn't know who Derek was, but he certainly knows now, doesn't he?
He certainly does indeed. I think it's been good for the seniors. I think to have players, Richie Howson's another one. We knew that he played darts before, but he wasn't playing at the levels that he is now. And I think the seniors really should be commended for finding people like Derek, although when you put an entry in, Derek just turns up and comes and plays. But without the seniors, we probably wouldn't have ever seen Derek on the TV playing darts and at the level that he is now. So I think that, the seniors has been very important for Derek as much as Derek has been extremely important for the seniors.
Well, I just mentioned it, Derek seemingly came from nowhere, but let's get to know your background. Let's take right back to childhood, your upbringing, all that kind of thing. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born in Wales. A lot of people tell me I'm not Welsh, including my missus, but I was born in Wales. I'm proud to be Welsh. Grew up in the South Wales, Llanturn Major, went to school. I used to chuck a bit of darts in the garage, as everybody did. I had one of the old cork boards in the garage. And then we moved up to England. My dad had to basically come and work up at Heathrow, so we had to move. And I had a little snooker table and a dartboard in my bedroom, and I just knock around on a table and throw some darts, and just loved it. Obviously then once you get into the pub games and start turning up in the pubs, I used to play local comps. On a Sunday night we used to run a comp, and I'd win it most nights. And then this guy turned up one time, never seen him before, lost to him in the final. I'm like, oh, hang on, he's a bit tasty. And then next week I beat him in the final, and then I thought, okay, maybe there's something in this game. But at that time, in the area I was in, there wasn't a lot going on, so I never really took it any further. And then I went to work in pubs, ended up in London, Walthamstow area, played some darts there. I've always enjoyed it because just being around the people that play the game, it was good. It was good fun. And like you said, win or lose, you just sort of shake around and move on. And then from there, I went into pubs and didn't play a lot of darts because of the work I was doing. And I say then when we moved to Shropshire, things changed. So I wouldn't say I ever thought about darts as a youngster, but I've always loved it. Obviously watching it and seeing Richie Burnett win the World Championships back in the 90s, that was amazing. But other than that, I never thought of it as a serious game.
I was going to ask about that because obviously darts was always around for you, but did it never actually seem plausible? Because nowadays, look, you've got the Super Series on 50 weeks a year, a 24/7 channel, the amount of tournaments the PDC are putting on. Youngsters are now looking at this game, going through academies as a potential career pathway. But in that era, did it seem like sort of winning your pub league was the pinnacle, really?
Absolutely that, because you'd watch them on the TV every now and then. Like nowadays, darts is everywhere. It's massive. It's so big. But in those days, there wasn't a lot. You just watch a World Championship and maybe a few other tournaments every now and then. So you'd watch the guys and think, wow, that's incredible. But you never thought that's where I want to be, because that channel wasn't there. That progression was hard to find until later years. And obviously some people have managed to do it because they've been around the right people in the right areas. But I never had that. So that progression was never there for me. That thought process was never there. But now, especially when the seniors came around, that was my lifeline, really, is to give this a go. And I've mentioned it before when sitting here, that when I first rocked up, thinking, go on in, I'll give this a go. I'll be all right here. And then you see the players in the room, it's like, wow, there's so many good players around. So my level had to change, and I had to dig in, and I do practice a lot. I don't class myself as a natural dart player. I have to practice. So that's where it all stems from.
Is there any sort of, you mentioned Richie Burnett winning the World Championship. Did you have any sort of idols in the game growing up?
At that time, Richie Burnett was. In that moment, and I still say it now, around that era, he was the best player in the world for those couple of years. He was unbelievable to watch. And then what Phil Taylor's done in the game, when you look at it and think, I can't do that. It's I'll give that a miss. I'll just play in a local pub. But then when opportunities comes around, so the players I've looked at over the years, obviously Phil Taylor's an obvious one with what he did in the game. And he'd probably say himself, he's not a natural dart player. He worked very, very hard at the game. But Richie Burnett was the one probably originally that I looked at and thought, wow, that looks amazing.
Scott, how many Derek Coulsons are there out there that maybe haven't taken the step that he has now?
Well, I think there are a few more than you give credit for. I mean, I play local leagues around my way, and we've got a couple around our way that I've tried to encourage to come to the seniors, but some of them are saying maybe it's a bit too late for them. They're not probably as keen and as active as Derek is, but I think they're out there. I think they're up and down the country. I think there's a few more of these guys, but at the same time, we're happy to have found Derek, because obviously he's now come here and shown it's not all about the seniors. He can come here and he can live with anybody within the game here at MODUS. So I think that's the special bit about Derek. I think that he's come through, decided to go and give it a go. And I think his laid-back attitude towards it means that you don't have so many battle scars when you do come and give it a go. You're not so frightened to give it a go because, it's glass half full all the time with you, isn't it?
I think it's, I am. I've always been that kind of person. I tend not to get stressed over any situation. And I think that does help me. If I lose a game, there's nothing I can do about it anymore. That game's gone. You just move on to the next one. But moving on to what you said about the players, there's so many good players out there. There is so many good players. I mean, I play with some lads, but they don't get the opportunity. Whether it's work, home life, we've all said that before. When the guy plays with Mark back home, and he's a 180 machine, absolute machine of a dart player, but he just doesn't have that opportunity to go out and showcase. He plays county and he's a phenomenal dart player. I keep saying to him, get out there and do it, but it's having that chance, and that's something I've managed in my later years to have that opportunity, and that's what seniors gave me. Whether it's financial, and my kids have grown up a bit more now, so now I've got that freedom to go away, spend weekends away or weeks away, and not everybody has that opportunity, but there's many, many good players out there.
But what was the carrot? What was the sort of first event or the first thing that made you think, right, I'm going to have a go at this?
TV, if I'm honest, brutally honest. When the seniors started and there was that carrot of a TV event, I was like, a county I've loved playing on a stage, but to play in front of TV was, I think it's probably everybody's end goal. And didn't go so well in the first year I played, but progression was good. I felt like my game could get better. And then, so that was the target. It's always been my target, was to get onto the TV. So, yeah.
When you played, you've spoken about playing Derek. What kind of a player is he to play against?
He doesn't give anything away. So with younger players, you find that younger players will have a bit of emotion with every throw, and you can tell when it hasn't gone right. Some players don't watch the other players, so they can't see what they're doing. So I tend to do that a little bit. So I tend to be a sort of a feet watcher, particularly on a floor tournament. And when he walks away from that hockey, you watch a younger player and they've hit a 180 or a 140, they jump over that hockey and strut on up. This fella, I couldn't tell whether he hit a 180 or a 26. There was no difference. There was no difference in his persona. There was no difference in... You were just not going to give anything away. No. And then when you come up against a player like that, you're playing a proper player. You're playing a proper player that knows exactly what he wants from the game and how he's going to get it. And that's by not getting over carried away, get on with the job and concentrate on himself and not me. And that's what a player does that is doing that.
Is that a conscious approach, or is it something that maybe is linked to coming to it later in life? Because you do see a lot of youngsters where really they've got the weight of the world on their shoulders, and it means everything. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything to you, but is that part of it?
It's a bit of both, because I'm laid back anyway, but I don't want to show how I'm feeling. I don't want those adrenaline rushes, those dips and highs. I just want to be there. And that way I've got control of my darts. I mean, we've seen it recently, people hitting 9 darts losing games. That adrenaline rush is hard to deal with sometimes. So I do intentionally try and keep it as steady as I possibly can. And sometimes I'll play against players that are giving it large, giving it the booms. And actually that, even though I don't like it, as a player, I'm not a fan of it. Actually drives me on. It actually makes me play better because it helps me concentrate a hell of a lot more. The only time I've really done giving it large is at the end of a game. In one leg, it's just no point, because if you end up losing the match, then it looks a bit silly. So, yeah, it's a bit of both, but I try and... It is quite natural. I'm not sort of concentrated, don't do anything, don't do this. It's just the way I play the game. Take my darts out, move on to the next throw.
Has there ever been an occasion where you have felt the need to react, maybe because an opponent's doing something, so you give them a bit back? Yeah. Thomas Banks at County, I think it was well known. Thomas is a lovely lad. I played him, I think he was 14 or 15, and it wasn't a big stage. And he was pretty much in my face with every 180 and every leg. And in my head, I was like, okay, when I win this, you're having it. And that's what I did. It wasn't great. He was young and it hurt him, I think. But the youngsters, that's what they do. I think they watch people on TV, and I do feel I have that advantage because I don't need to do that to get my game going. Some people maybe do, like Owen Price. He needs it in his game. I kind of probably in a way, some do it to me because that's what drives me on. You mentioned the seniors and the MODUS Super Series. I'm going to address both of them in turn. We've already spoken about your first appearance. Look, some great results on the tour. But I want to talk about this 2025 World Championship. That match against Mervyn King. Referenced it earlier. I commentated on it, and most people are in agreement that's the best match that's ever been played on a seniors stage. Did it feel like that? And what did it feel like to beat such a legend of the game?
It was amazing. I'll never forget that game. It was an incredible game to play in. Walking in, because I was a massive underdog from the start, because people messaging me saying, "Oh, your odds, you're 100 to 1 to win this," and it kind of drove me on. It drove me on. It was always going to be hard. Mervyn's a class act, and he's a phenomenal dart player. But I didn't know how it was going to be. I was pleased I was drawn on a Thursday. I think it had been mentioned that I didn't want to be playing on a Wednesday, so I went in on a Wednesday just to see the atmosphere and see what it was like. So when I turned up on a Thursday, I knew what to expect, and I absolutely loved it. Walking up on that stage, there wasn't any nerves. It was just pure, just go out there and enjoy it. That's what I wanted to do the most, is enjoy that game. And lucky enough, the darts went really well. And Merv was great. He was very respectful, so can't complain.
Things change after that, don't they, though? Because then you've put in that performance, you've beaten one of the favourites. In fact, at one point, the favourite to win that tournament. Going through round by round, eventually reaching the semi-finals, did you feel any pressure, any nerves at any point?
No. Probably my most nervous game was against Tony O'Shea. And probably because I was classed as a favourite for that game. Against John Henderson, I wouldn't have been favourite to win it. Again, good game. The semi-final, just a bit dry. There was nothing there. You'd know, Scott, I just tried to force the dart because I was hitting 60, 60, 60, and I was like, then you try and force the dart, and that doesn't help. I started dragging them low, and I know how good Graham is and how good a finisher he is. Very fast player. Maybe I got dragged into a little bit too quick for my game. But I wasn't angry when I lost. I was just disappointed that I didn't really do what I wanted to do.
Did we see that happen maybe to Graham then in the final, Scott, when he played Ross Montgomery, the same kind of thing?
Yeah, probably. I think so. I think what happens, as Derek's described, you have a few throws where you start to feel a little bit unlucky, don't you? They've not quite dropped in the treble 20. And then you start to doubt yourself a little bit in your mind, thinking, well, hang on a minute, I'm throwing exactly the same as I was. They're not quite going. And once you take that element of freedom and of relaxation, of not overthinking away, then that's when the arm starts to go a little bit tight. That's when you start to then hold on to it just that split second longer. Instead of the dart going into that treble 20, it drags a little bit low. And then you're thinking, well, why is it dragged low? I've thrown it exactly the same. You probably haven't. You've taken the beans off it a little bit, trying to make sure. There are varying little things that go wrong, and the more time that you spend on the TV, you work out how to overcome it. And then you'll have a few months away from it, and you haven't been on there and excited to get back, and then you've got to learn it all again because you've forgotten what you do forget what you've learned. So for Derek, he's kind of at the right end of it, and when you have those experiences, you're able to then bring them to somewhere else, like here, because although there's no crowd, it's still on TV. It feels exactly the same when you put your foot to the hockey, and you're able to apply those things that you've learned in those games. And it's lovely to hear that Derek does have a kind of problem, well, had a problem with that, and has learned to overcome it.
Well, let's talk about playing here. You mentioned it's a bit of a bug. 3 series you played in before now. The first time, if I'm right, missed out very narrowly on reaching finals night. Was that where the bug came from, the desire to sort of put that right?
It was. I left here thinking, I want some more of this. I was so close. I didn't know what to expect when I first came here. Obviously, it's very quiet, but walking up onto that stage, the throw is spot on. There is no excuse. If you lose, you've lost to the better player. You can't. There's no excuses, noises or something. This has happened. And I walked away thinking, I'd love to get another opportunity. I didn't know whether it would come or not. But when it came around, I thought, right, I've got to take this opportunity. And I did. I grabbed it with both hands and moved on. And playing here, even though there's nobody here during the week, but playing on a Saturday, that helped me when I went to Circus Tavern, because even though it's not the same size, but having the people here and playing in front of it, knowing the cameras are there, being here has changed my game totally.
What did it feel like to hit that winning double and win for the first time on a Saturday night here?
I don't really remember the feeling, to be honest. I knew it was going to be tough because I was playing Andy, who's a very, very good player, quality player. But my finishing was really good that night. I think I took 2 ton pluses in the first 2 legs. And I've never been one to think of the occasion. So I just thought, play your game, and if it goes in, great. If it doesn't, move on to the next leg. But when then I've picked up the trophy, then it sort of sunk in, right, champion. And it was the week after as well, yeah. So I was like, right, okay, I've got to do this all again. So, and lucky enough, I was put in Group C again, and I think that helped having a little bit of a break and come back again. And I played great in the Group C Champions Week.
Yeah, made it through to the finals on both the Champions Weeks you've been to, actually. The other one you got through as the best runner-up, didn't you? And it kind of that shows as well, even though you didn't win it, the consistent level that you're producing here must be really, really pleasing. Yeah,
consistency has really helped a lot. I mean, my A game has always been good, but my B game was always quite a way off my A game. And I've sort of pulled that closer now. So even if I'm not winning, I'm close. And that's helped massively, the consistency. And, if somebody misses, then I should be fairly close behind to take that opportunity if they miss. And that's the way I want to play.
Mentioned about that first campaign, other sort of moments, are there any way you think that one got away? I want to scratch. I think of the Marvin van Velzen group game, the night that he won it. Does that live in the memory a little bit?
That one does, yeah. 3-1 up, 2 darts at a double to win 4-1, and I was in total control. Lost 4-3, but even then I was like, okay, well, I've got another opportunity. I was playing Steve West, and fair play to Steve, but he wasn't playing his best at that moment. That's one thing that changed in my game and in my head that I didn't think would exist in my game, was I started counting legs. Normally I walk up and go, win or lose, win the game, move on. If I lose, fair enough. But I knew I just needed so many legs, and then you start thinking, okay, I'm 2-0 down, but if I win the next one, instead of thinking just win the game, I started thinking about legs. And I did the same when I played Darius as well.
We're smiling, Scott, because how many times in commentary do I say he needs this many legs, and you say, I hope he's not thinking about that?
I do. I've been there myself. I've been in similar situations with at the Grand Slam. Been similar situations here. I did a lovely 5 out of 5 one night, and then the next night I did a 0 and didn't qualify on leg back. But look, I'm count back. But look, this is what kind of happens. I got that wrong that night. I started coming in thinking, I just need one game and I'm safe. Yeah. One game and I'm safe, and I didn't get one. It just went on. And Derek's absolutely right. And it again, although this is darts and it's best of 7 and it's what you play elsewhere, when you add the round robin scenario to it, it's very difficult not to think it. And if you don't want to think it, there'll be somebody in that player's room that does.
Yeah.
So there's another 5 of you in that room, and one of them will be absolutely adamant that they know what they're talking about, and you'll go with it because you're trying to ignore it. Yeah. And you'll go with it and say, well, you need one leg here, and if he gets 2, you're out. And they're in the back room, and you just want to put your headphones in and forget that it ever happens. But it makes it entertainment. It makes it exciting for you to play within it, doesn't it? Yeah. And to test yourself on a stage like this against the players that come here, a lot of people say, don't you get nervous when you're playing in front of the cameras, don't you? No, because when you know you're good at something, you're quite happy to live by the sword and die by the sword. You're
That's
happy
where you
to
want to be.
And do what you're doing. You want people to watch you. You want people to be interested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's come to Derek later in life, but he's taken to it like a duck to water.
Are there any ambitions to maybe have a couple of years on the Pro Tour and chase that tour card? I know you've got lots of opportunities here, the Seniors, Challenge Tour, you've been a finalist before, but is that something that you've got any ambitions for?
Yeah, I do plan to go to Q School in January. If I carry on playing the way I'm playing, I think it'd be silly not to. I know a lot of people looking and going, oh, you're too old, all these youngsters coming through, but why not? If I can, why not give it a go? Walk, even if it was only 2 years, been there, done it, so I would love to. I'd love to put myself up against those players. I've always felt that I play my best game when I play against good players, and I think I'd raise my game even further.
I've actually often said, because there's never been a time when more people are interested in darts, and there will be players that maybe used to be good when they were younger that haven't picked up a dart for years, and actually the next Luke Littler might not be 16, they might be 60. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not too sure about it when he hit 122 the other day, but he's a phenomenon and he's a hell of a player. But I think a lot of people can take what he's doing and say, why not? If I'm 30, 40, 50, why not? I can play the game, so let's give it a go. I don't think anybody should be looking and going, there's no point in me doing it because these guys are too good. I think you've got to say, yeah, I want to raise my game and I'm going to push myself and see where it takes me. And
at our age, doing it too late comes very quick.
Yeah.
You haven't got 10 years to decide anymore.
No.
You've got 10 minutes. So if you are going to do it, it has to be a bit more of an impulse thing and say, right, I'm going to have a go at it. If it goes right, it goes right, because then you don't spend whatever your dart and life you have left thinking, what if?
Yeah.
That's the worst thing for a dart player. You don't want to be that guy in that pub going, 10 years ago, well, it was brilliant, but I could have done this and I didn't have the opportunity. No, get on and do it before it's too late.
I think maybe a good place to end it is to ask that what if question. Is there ever a thought in your mind of thinking, what if I'd taken it seriously 20 years ago? Any regrets?
No, I've never really thought that because I don't think the opportunity was ever there for me wherever I lived or where I was in the stage of my life. I don't think I'd have been where I am now in those days. Probably mentally as well, to be honest. I just think at the moment I'm in a really good place with my family and financially. So it's opened the doors for me to just go and enjoy myself. And I think that's what helped me most. I'm enjoying it more than anything.
That's the main thing. Derek, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Scott, thanks for your contribution as well. That's the latest of our Tungsten Talks. Plenty more of those here on the MODUS Super Series Darts channel. And don't forget to check out all of the live action as well here on Pluto TV.